Muted. There we go. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here, back at it with the Addict Show. I got Hustle and Motivate with me. Say what's up, Hustle.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing on this fine Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it is Tuesday, isn't it? The days get mixed up with me, man. I don't know why they get mixed up. But today, as you can see, we're gonna be talking about the PlayStation 5 and the future of where that brand's gonna be going. Probably the relatively new future. It's not a PlayStation. Look at that, man. I talk about PlayStation one time. I got people in the comments section saying it's a PlayStation podcast. It is the Addict Show. It's not anyone, man. It's the Addict Show. So we're gonna be talking about kind of mine Hustle's predictions in terms of where the the conference is gonna go. We're also gonna be talking about sequels because I feel like there's some bad things going on with sequels that people have like an expectation that's unrealistic and it kind of hard for developers to meet. And we're gonna be talking about Far Cry 6 and Dying Light 2. So thanks for everyone for showing up. First off, let's start with the Far Cry and Dying Light. So you did say earlier that you didn't see a whole lot of the Dying Light 2. Did you play the original Dying Light?
No, sir. I wasn't even like into those types of games, to that type of game back then. The only first person games that I really like got down with was a little bit of Doom, Halo mostly. But I'm actually glad to see Dying Light 2 has some type of release. I don't know if it was a date was given, but some type of release window at the very least, because as you remember, Addict, that game was on indefinite suspension. Like it was like, hold on, we just want to stop everything. And was it rumored that Microsoft were gonna buy them once upon a time, and that why everything had ceased production, or is another reason that I don't think I can mention on your platform?
There's a lot of things going on with
Okay.
them. I don't necessarily think that. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see like some kind of Game Pass thing. For the most part, I've always said when it comes to like rumors, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, I don't necessarily know what happened behind closed doors. I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know if Microsoft had anything to do with it. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw like a Game Pass day and date kind of deal or something like that.
Mm.
So I really enjoyed Dying Light. I thought Dying Light was a phenomenal game, and I've always felt like it needed a sequel, and I was kind of like getting worried there for a minute because it looked like maybe this sequel ain't gonna come out and live up to what this game could actually be. But it looks great, but it is a cross-gen game, and I think people are getting this like weird concept that cross-gen games have to look like they're made for next-gen hardware. But would you agree with that?
I really don't have an issue with cross-gen titles in general. Like the more people who get to play a game, especially like that, like the better, in my opinion. I keep hearing that last gen stuff holds back current gen hardware, and even if that is true, let's just take it for what it is. Like more people who can't get a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S, because those things are hard to get their hands on. Like the more people, the better. And we're gonna see a lot more titles like that too. I think and I guess we'll get to it later about the PlayStation 5 stuff. It wouldn't surprise me that if Horizon's Forbidden West, God of War 2, and you figure whatever the next PS exclusive is, it wouldn't surprise me if all of those are cross-gen, because it's still very hard to get a PS5 or Xbox at this point. Xbox Series X at this point.
Yeah, it definitely is, because I still think we're going to see a lot of issues in terms of production. I don't think they're going to be able to fix that anytime soon. But what the biggest thing that I'm just curious on is, what kind of scale-wise this game's going to be. And, we could definitely bring up Far Cry 6 real quick. Did you ever play the old Far Cries, or was it, something that kind of missed you?
Nah, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Like the only thing that I remember about Far Cry were the villains, how they put a big emphasis on them. So I was never really interested in those in particular. Um, Okay, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. Don't they like repeatedly use like the same engine? So if you've played them, do the games feel any different from like 4, 5, and 6? I know that they're different protagonists and different antagonists, but do they feel any different?
I think they look different, but I don't know if they feel any different. I think that might be. I think it's about the same. We can definitely bring up the sequels of games with this because I got an issue with people and how they try to treat sequels of games. My thing, okay, let's talk about Halo.
Okay.
People want some unrealistic expectation when it comes to, well, I didn't like the previous ones. I want them to change the whole game to make me like it. And I feel like that is some crazy thinking. Because to me, if you didn't like the games, you have no right to try to change the future of the installments. It's just like, maybe that game's not for you. I don't like Gears as multiplayer. I've never liked Gears as multiplayer. But do you see me campaigning for them to change Gears as multiplayer?
Hey, Addict, I ain't finna hold you. I think you might want to campaign to change Gears multiplayer. You know, as much as I love Gears, and as much as I love Gears 5 in particular, I think you might want to put a word in. Like, boy, it's getting pretty bad. But no, I feel you though. But like, sometimes change is good, because here's what happens, right? Like, you mentioned Halo, so let's talk about Halo for a minute. We got the Bungie versions of Halo, and then now we got the 343 versions of Halo. Now, you can speak to the multiplayer of that side of things. Is it even better? Has it gotten a lot better at this point? Because I know a lot of people make those comparisons. I love Halo 3, and I think the sprint in Halo 4, while it's cool, I don't think it was necessary. I would have much rather they just turn the game speed up a little bit.
I think that a lot of people try to put this giant hill of hatred on 343. Look, have they done 100% where I feel like the PlayStation brand needs to be? No. I mean, not the PlayStation. The Halo brand needs to be? No. But we can't act like people say, oh, aim down sights, sprinting. Like, first off, Bungie put sprinting in Halo. It was in Reach. So, and second off, a lot of the people that work at 343 was from Bungie. So it's just like, look, like, I get it. People don't like what they do, but we can't just sit here and put blame on a company that all they did was take the work and go the direction it was going. I can almost guarantee you, if Bungie never left Microsoft, they would have went maybe not necessarily the same direction, but they would have sooner or later incorporated sprinting into the game, aim down sights, because that's where the evolution of the genre in general was going. Like, how do you expect people, these days to, from a casual point to pick up the game if there's not even sprinting in the game? Like I get it. It slows down the gameplay if people like it slow, but it's just like, you are a superhuman soldier and you can't sprint.
Nah, I feel that.
It's just like, you're a super huge soldier and you're supposed to hit fire. I understand people wanting the game to evolve, but really, where's the game going to evolve? Like, I think that people have took this concept that God of War done, and they've tried to put that on every game. What happened with God of War, what Cory Barlog did at St. Monica with God of War, is not normal. That shit doesn't happen all the time.
I was gonna say that's a fucking tall mountain to climb. Like that was indeed special. Like with Corey and the team at Sony Santa Monica there. Like, yo, hey, listen, it would be nice if, when games make those changes like that, it would be nice if all of those games could hit that mark. But we're gonna be realistic, man. He's a special type of human being to even turn a franchise that was so beloved. You remember the whole thing was like, oh, there's no jump button and this, that, and the third. People forgot about that real quick, didn't they?
Yeah, and see that. But to me, God of War had an evolution that could have done. Mm-hmm. It kind of, it wasn't necessarily 2D. I don't even know what kind of gameplay that's technically called, where it's like aiming above them a little bit, because that's what God of War was. Like, it wasn't behind, like the old God of Wars was like kind of like the screen tilted back while you fought in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so they had a little bit of a work that they could do. They could work around that. Like, but to me, people say they want Gears to change. Where's Gears gonna go? Like, to me, it sounds like you want another game. And regardless, I know that you and Eric are on your anti-Gears moment here recently. Like, we can't take away from the fact that you guys ain't put mad hours in this game.
Yeah, I got like 120 or 130. This is some obscene number that I don't want to repeat. But yeah, no, I got you. I think I legit think I'm just tired of Gears in particular.
That's what I feel like's happened. Like, it's not necessarily that Gears multiplayer is a bad game, because it kept you guys in it long enough. So it's just, sure, you guys got tired of playing it. And I think there's a difference between being tired of playing a multiplayer than thinking something's bad. And to me, I just get tired of people I know have put very little time in Halo trying to give their opinion on Halo. And it's
Yeah,
just...
Yeah, no. Well, I got even to cut you off. Yeah, not typically. I got people in the squad who really know what they're talking about. So I typically keep quiet on those. The only thing I really wanted, like 343 to fix, was the alleged story issues with Part 5. How they hyped it up, how it was going to be you versus Locke, and then it didn't really turn into that. Like I kind of want them to like be able to rebound, because apparently the multiplayer in Halo 5 is really good. So if they got that down and they got the story in full good, like I think it's time for everybody to bring it all together. But we've heard rumblings and rumors and everything else since then. I just hope the team at 343 can get it together. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think after this, even if they get it together, I think that they need a new franchise. They need to work on something new, because creatively, I feel like they're getting burnt out. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
I'd agree. I'd agree with you. And people in the chat saying I'm gatekeeping. Like, I'm kind of curious what you mean by me gatekeeping. Feel free to tell me exactly what you mean by me gatekeeping, because I don't think me gatekeeping. I don't think me asking people that don't normally play the franchise and want the franchise to change is gatekeeping. Like, the Halo community's already at war enough. We don't need outsiders telling us what's good for the franchise we've been playing for, 2 decades? Like, no. Like, I don't like 2K because I don't like basketball. I don't like sports in general, pretty much. You don't see me like, let's make this more addict way. Like, I want to play 2K, but it's not worthy of me playing. Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty. You don't see me advocating trying to have them change Call of Duty. I don't like Gears. I'm not sitting here on Twitter 24/7 arguing why Gears needs to change their multiplayer to get me to play. I just don't play those games.
You know, the thing about Gears, though, in particular, I think one of the main reasons why we did stop playing it is because it is kind of like super casualized. I love Gears 5, but this is my first time playing it. But you get like assist kills now. They made it like super casual, and they kind of...
I mean,
what's up?
If you shoot someone to the brink of death and they kill him, you don't think that... You think getting assist kills is a casual feature?
Hey, it wasn't in there before, from what I understand now. From what I understand, it wasn't in there before, but Addict's way more than that. We can go on a rant about the coalition, but and I don't want to slander the coalition. I just want to say this: if I'm, and I see Erica in the chat. What up, Erica? If me and Erica are right by each other, we shoot each other. She lives with 100% done to me and 99% done to her, then it's time to fix something, dog. Like, yo, something got to get fixed over there. Like I said, you can speak to Halo a lot more than me. I just really want Bonnie Ross to like make it, her and the whole squad, because they've been through a hell of a lot over the last 5 years, and the budget was what, 500 million allegedly. We don't know how much that budget is. That's gonna have to be phenomenal.
I mean,
and it's going to
I don't think anyone's ever come openly out and determine what the budgeting was, and I think the budgeting was the entire time. It was because Halo 5, it's not like they made the game and they launched it and they never messed with it again. If that was a budgeting, it was probably talking about the entire time that they expected to support the project. So I mean, okay. They developed it for 3 to 5 years, and then they supported it for another 3 years. So I think it was that whole time, including the marketing. Like, the marketing by itself was probably a couple $100 million, because people don't realize how expensive marketing is. It's not cheap by any means. And I think that, in terms of the Gears thing, we could talk about Fraud Card, because I don't think you could do it about Dying Light, because Dying Light's just the second one. I don't think you could really go too much into that. But Far Cry 6, people say, just looks like Far Cry. I want more. What do you want? Clearly it's selling. So there's a prime example of people that love the Far Cry franchise, because I can assure you they wouldn't keep making them if they weren't making money. So it's like, if the Far Cry people are happy, maybe you're just not a Far Cry fan. Why do you want to change Far Cry when it's already doing well enough? Like, I just don't get that. They changed the scenario, they changed the story, they changed the villain. What else do they want? Do they want to add like a third person? I think PlayStation has ruined this community.
Oh boy.
To me, it feels like everyone wants their template, and if they don't get their damn template for story-related games, it needs to change. That's what I personally feel like. Not every game needs to be a third-person action adventure game.
I think this one does as much as they showed the protagonist in the trailer, which I did see. Shout out to Merc 305, by the way. I saw that stream, and as much as they kept showing this young lady, like, look, what's wrong with that, Addict?
Look, this dude saying I'm contradicting myself. There's a difference between me wanting to add features that are in every game, such as sprinting, aim down sights, and me wanting to change the foundation that the game is made on of. Like, people act like they don't like Halo as a whole. So why are they wanting to change Halo? That's my thing. Like, I want aim down sights and stuff because I feel like that is just the evolution of the genre in general. Nothing to do with Halo. So to me, I feel like you have to have those features in there to even really compete with anything. But I'm not asking people to take it out. If it's not in there, it's not in there. If it is in there, it is in there. I've played them both. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't want sprinting in a game. I really feel like the only people that want sprinting in Halo is the people that can only use two weapons, the BR and the handgun. Because they know if you're extremely good with those guns, sprinting takes the effectiveness of those guns away. If you can sprint and change the motion of the speed you have, you'll be less effective with those weapons. Is that not true, Hustle?
Yeah. Hey, I had a question though, and you can't slander the BR. That's like a staple in
the
game.
No, I'm not slandering the BR. I'm slandering people. I'm slandering people that want sprinting out of the game because I feel like they can only use the BR. And if you add sprinting in the game, those kind of features hurt sprinting. I mean, hurt the BR, the AR, not the AR, but the BR and the handgun because that's where Halo jumping came in. Because when you're out in the middle of open of nowhere, that's the only thing you could do. There was no sprinting. You had to jump and fight back. And to me, those people want sprinting gun because that's the only guns they could use. Because they know that if they can sprint, it's not just the same speed shooting anymore. You could easily get out of the way at that point. You could sprint straight for a door and thrust your way into that door. And if we were playing Halo 2, you wouldn't have that option. They would have just picked you off the BR.
Hey, I have a question. Did they ever fix the bloom at a certain point?
The what?
The bloom in a Halo. Because apparently in the OG Halos, they had something called bloom, and it was like when you aim, you're not really hitting people. Did they fix the hit detection? Is a few things that I want to know if they fixed in Halo 5.
Halo 5, they made it to where if you shot someone aimed down sights, it shoots them out of it. So most of the time in the engagements, it was more beneficial for you to shoot down sights anyway. And like, I get it. And then they made it where if you run, you don't regenerate your shields automatically. So to me, it feels like, when it comes to something like that, they're trying to make a middle ground. But people, I don't know why. Like, I think we should just let Halo die before we just keep manipulating the foundation it's built on. Like, clearly it's not going to appeal to the masses that people want it to. And I personally feel like one of the reasons that it was so dominant back in the days because there was no competition. Call of Duty was really its only competition. And at that time, I would say once you hit like the Modern Warfare 2 level, that's when it started raising above Halo. So it's just like we didn't have no Fortnites and no war zones competing with Halo back in the day.
There is a Halo god in the chat known as Eric Empire. He said the only problem that had Bloom in it was reach, and that was the one that I was trying to play recently. I was getting my head bust, but I was struggling with that one recently. So thank you very much, Eric. Hey, I don't know, man. I mean, you say a lot of people just want, you say you wanted to dabble. Are you sure you want an actual franchise to die with something? Because it sounds like they can fix these with like operations or whatever. What's up?
The thing is the Halo 4, I felt like that wasn't Halo. The multiplayer felt more like Call of Duty. What I consider Halo has nothing to do with sprinting, nothing to do with the speed of the game, nothing to do with its map control. That's what I feel like Halo is. And I feel like people constantly try to change that foundation. It's like, look, like everyone starts with the same thing. You have to fight for the weapons on the map. You have to fight for the sections of the map. And, you know, when you look at competitive Halo, they let some of the weapons go because they'll fight for a certain section of the map to keep it.
Mm.
So they have to make a decision. Do I want the shotgun or do I want the sword? Because that's the side of the map I need to lock down when shit gets bad. And I need to stop cussing. My bad. God. And it's just like, I just personally feel like Halo and Gears is multiplayer. Maybe not Gears because I hear there's a lot of issues with balancing and stuff, but I don't play Gears as multiplayer because I don't like Gears as multiplayer. So I don't mess with that. But I don't see Erica and you in there trying to change Halo's multiplayer. Because you guys don't play it. That's my issue. It's people putting their 2 cents in something when they literally don't play it at all. They'll put like maybe, and then the people that do play it, they play the campaign, play a couple matches of the Halo multiplayer, and they're out and they're wanting to change the stuff. And it's just like, just stop. You're not a fan. Like, you're a casual walk by that plays it. You don't sit here and play it for hours upon hours in. I got like 10 days in Halo 5. So why would I care someone that's playing Halo for 5 hours what they have to say?
Oh no, that's big facts. I won't go back to Gears again, but I think that's kind of what was going on over there. When we see, you know what? Never mind. This ain't my platform. I will speak on Gears at another day. Addict. As far as Far Cry 6 goes, you had mentioned earlier, right? One of the comparisons about it always selling well and it always doing well in terms of numbers and everything. Like when you said that, the game that came to my mind was like Assassin's Creed. A lot of people claim to like not like it, but it keeps coming out and it keeps doing numbers every single time it comes out. Like how do we stop this? Like because like at a certain point, do you think these studios are becoming complacent? It's like, oh, we're gonna do our numbers anyway, so we can just throw. It seems like we can just throw whatever. It's like the Madden syndrome. We can just throw whatever we want to throw up on there. People gonna buy it anyway.
I think there's some of that going on, but I think that another thing is people are too scared to touch, you know, what makes the franchises them. Every time they do, they get jumped on, and I think you got this cycle of hate, because it's just like, do I change it drastically? Because then, sure, there might not be more hardcore fans of this franchise than there are casuals, and I might be able to appeal to them and get some more people that doesn't really mess with my franchise, or do I try to stick more to the hardcore market, but then I get no casuals? But the problem with that is if you go to the casual market, you might mess up and not get none of them, and you've ended up isolating half of the hardcore market, and then vice versa. So it's just like, what do you do? It's a hard decision to make. Like, do you want to try to make the franchise as best as possible, or do you want to try to pick it up and keep it to the hardcore base? Because at the end of the day, from playing Destiny and Halo, those casual people ain't staying long. Couple weeks, a couple hours a day, couple weeks tops. When you play Destiny, that's what happened to Bungie. Bungie was like, let's make Destiny. You know what we're going to do with Destiny? Let's make it more casual. Destiny was in the worst spot it ever was in Destiny 2 because of that. And they ended up reversing all of that. It took them a while, but they did it. And to me, sure, you want to try to do stuff to bring in more of an audience, but you never want to spit in the people that made you who you are. And I feel like there's too many of that going on. Final Fantasy, one of my favorite franchises. And what's funny is Final Fantasy has nothing to do with the other ones. It's literally, for the most part, you know, obviously there's certain sequels, but for the most part, it's a game that has a sequel, but it's nothing to do with the previous ones. So you didn't really have to change that, you know? But then they started making live action, then you got 15 where it's purely action. They took the turn-based out, which is what pretty much their whole franchise was built off of.
Yep, it was a staple for.
And now, if you look at
time.
they're a shell of what their former self was. You know, people like the games. I think Final Fantasy VII, if I can't have turn-based back, I think 7 was the best direction I could get. But at the end of the day, was it because I thought that the fighting was awesome, or was it because of nostalgia for the Final Fantasy VII story that kept me in it. I couldn't tell you.
I know you're super big on that joint, so you would have to actually explain that to me. See, I'm an old man at it, just in case you didn't know. I remember Final Fantasy 1 through at least 7 being turn-based. I'm not sure about 8, 9, and 10, but when did they make the move to go to action RPG instead of turn-based RPG?
Well, to my knowledge, Final Fantasy 12 was the first one they really started dabbling in it. And it wasn't necessarily like, it still kind of was turn-based. Well, it wasn't turn-based. But then they went to 13, and that was a little bit, that was more turn-based than anything else. And then they switched it and went to 14, which was an online. And then 15 is when they went straight into it. Now, I didn't like 13. I think 13 was definitely the worst in the franchise. And I had to live with that for like 8 years because they had 2 sequels of 13. So 15 I felt like was a direction a little bit better in the right direction. What wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be, but it was better than where it was. Talk for 1 second.
Yes, sir. So I think when you drop over 15 like sequels, I think at a point you gotta switch it up at some point, and it really could be a shot in the arm. If you look at something like the Yakuza series, right? If you look at the Yakuza series now, apparently it's so much. It gave it that much needed shot in the arm by going turn based, as we talking about.
I can't imagine how mad the base fans are for Yakuza. Imagine playing Yakuza for this many years, and they're like, "We don't care, we changing it." I like it because I like the turn based, but
I was about to say I don't hear them. No, I don't hear them at all. We don't hear them, man. And but I was saying, as you stepped away, like just imagine doing something over. Let's just say over 15 times with Final Fantasy. Don't you think you gotta switch it up at one point? At some point, you gotta be like, all right, let's try something else.
My thing is, you have companies that are still doing turn based, doing fine. Dragon Quest, there's a mode in there where you can make it turn based. Persona is probably one of the most successful games this generation, and it's turn based. I mean, Yakuza just went to turn-based, so clearly there's a huge demographic of people, and it's been extremely successful. But Final Fantasy want to keep trying to do new stuff, and it's a hit and miss.
Well, Persona Strikers is like a.
I wasn't talking about Strikers.
Well, no, I didn't want to say for clarification purposes. They're like what's that? Like Dynasty Warriors. So they switched it up a little bit, but no, I feel you though. I feel you. I mean, when. Yeah, but I just look, it's just always speak from terms of the creator, right? You don't want to get stagnant because when you get stagnant, you become unhappy.
So let me ask you this then.
Yes.
I beat Octopath Traveler, by the way. Someone in the comment section talked about Octopath Traveler.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's talk about Gears 5 for a minute because I know you're a fan of that. Base game Gears 5, did you like it?
You mean the campaign?
The campaign.
I have not played the campaign.
I am looking. The campaign.
Hold on,
Erica. I need you to get up in here, man. I'm gonna send you an invite. I need you up in here, Erica.
You get Erica because I actually want to run that co-op. But one of the issues that I actually am having is that apparently it used to be 4 players in co-op, but then they switched it to 3, and it's not even 3. It's really like 2.5 because it's 2 people who can play, and then there's Jack. I think I saw you and Smooth playing it. Like, who gonna be the robot, dog? At it. Come on, man.
I actually like being a robot.
Oh my god. For the whole game?
Yeah.
But you play. Hold on. But you probably played and beat the game on your own, more than likely, right?
No, I don't think I've ever beat that game by myself.
It's like, hold on. Oh, geez. So you just electrocuted people, picked up the weapons, and opened doors.
Dude, without a good Jack, that game got really annoying. Like on the real. Like without a good Jack, that game was mad annoying. And to me. I got to get Erica in here first if she comes in here.
That's fine.
Okay, it could only be for a minute. That's fine. I just got to talk to you about this Gears thing. This Gears thing. I feel like, in terms of Gears, I actually enjoy, besides Act 3, I felt like Act 3 was the weakest by far. I felt like the game was awesome. Act 1 was great. Act 2 was great. Act 3 was the weakest, and Act 4 was just was great. Act 2, that's where you saw in the trailers with Kate going through the snow and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the height of the franchise. Well, not the franchise, but you get what I'm saying. But the
that
height
game in particular
of what was going on there. So, but I see a lot of people saying that Gears 5 was underwhelming, and I'm like, where? Sure, Act 3 wasn't the greatest, but Act 1, 2, and 4 was great. So I'm just like, where is this energy saying that this game was underwhelming? Go, Erica.
Sorry, I just got here, so I can't be here long.
Okay,
What's
that's
up?
fine. Okay.
What are we talking about? Gears?
Did you you played Gears 5's campaign, right?
Yes.
Did you like it?
It was good. It wasn't
Okay.
amazing. It was good.
Did you play Hive Busters?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now, do you still feel like Gears needs to move? Like, do you need Gears, like the story needs to evolve?
Well, they're gonna have to finish up Kate's story. So even if we want it to, like Gear 6 is gonna have to finish it. So I don't see how they could even do that, honestly. Like I used to think I wanted Gears to change. You know, you see God of War, you see what they did over there and stuff like that. I used to think, oh, that would be cool. But the more I think about it, like the more I don't want that.
It's like I said earlier in the show, God of War is not something that happens every time. God of War is a phenomenon. Someone in the chat name me something drastic that changed like God of War, because I can't name anymore.
And
That changed drastically, like God of War 3 did to God of War 2018. Because I cannot tell you one.
They're gonna have to fix whatever that. Well, not whatever the issue was. There's a decision that you're faced with in Gears 5 with two of the main characters.
I mean,
They're gonna have to figure out like the actual stories. One of those stories is gonna have to be canon at that point.
they can easily get away around that multiple ways. They could have a scenario where, because at the end of the day, unless they do drastic changes to who, I mean, at this point, look, so someone dies at the end. I ain't gonna tell you what this kind of decision is. I can't explain it unless I say it. Look, it's easy for them to do multiple different cutscenes for the same scenario, just the other person's dead or not dead. It might change the dialogue a little bit. Like, I think they're probably going to choose one to be the canon and one not to be the canon. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know where they're going with that. And I think people give that a little bit too much of an attack as well. Because it's like, you don't know what they're doing with it. And I see all types of people acting like they know exactly what they're going to do with it. So it's just like, we got to wait. We got to wait for how Gear 6 is going to turn out. For all we know, they could be making a Mass Effect way where your decision of that particular part changes the whole scenario in Gears. But if you look at it, at the end of Gears 5, they had scenarios where it did change the overall outcome. To me, why would they put that much effort if they weren't going to care what happened at the end of that game?
Yeah, I think people just assume, they just ask the question, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. I haven't even thought about it. It's like, that's true. They could surprise us and do like a Mass Effect type. I mean, other games have done it. It really, you're playing as Kate. So Kate's going to be there. It's just whoever's in your party is going to be switched out, if anything.
And to me,
and there's going to be some cutscenes with them and without them. So, I mean, it's not super far-fetched to think like, oh, they can't pull it off. It's possible.
I didn't say that they couldn't. It's just gonna be crazy to see how they do it. Like, I'm more interested in that. I can't wait to, like, hey, Erica, at some point we're gonna have to run the Gears 5 campaign, for me, so you can carry me through. But I'm looking forward to it.
I beat it already, Hustle. You on your own.
I know.
Well, get it done.
Thank you for your support. I appreciate you.
When I see people say, well, it's more Gears, I hate that damn statement. It's more Gears, it's more Halo. Like, you don't hear me saying it's more Uncharted.
I mean, that's what they're saying about Horizon right now.
But my point is just like, what do people expect? Like, what I saw in Forbidden, whatever it's called, Forbidden Woods, Forbidden West, like
Forbidden West.
Like, to me, when I see that, it looked like Horizon done better. Like, I just don't get where people want. Like, I don't get, like, what's crazy and what's hilarious is you talk to people, they say Gears 5 was underwhelming. Gears 5 it was just more Gears. They needed to do something different. Then you talk to people about the same people. You talk to them about what's the one I just brought up? The little expansion they did. Hive Busters.
Hive Busters, which was phenomenal,
I tell them, yo, how'd you feel about Hive Busters? It was amazing. Tell me how Hive Busters is more like Gears 1 through 3 than Gears 5 is. So tell me how you said 6 months ago that Gears needs to change. and they give you an expansion that's more like the old Gears than this Gears, but Gears didn't change. So now I'm confused what you want, because you're telling me you want it to change, and they give you what the old stuff used to be, redefined and made it look nice, and now you saying Gears is in a good place. I'm confused.
I think they just don't know what they want until it's in their hands. Like, when they said they wanted Gears to change, did they say to go back to the original, or is it like, no, we want something
I don't think they know.
different? That's what I'm saying.
I don't think they know. Like, at least when I tell you, if I did want, like, the multiplayer of Halo, I think is in a good place from Halo 5. I don't care what none of you in the chat think. This is me, Addict Show. I can have my own world. You can't do shit about it.
No, language, sir, language.
Look, it is what it is. So I would personally like the campaign to change, though. I want a linear campaign. I want something like Wolfenstein for a campaign.
For Gears?
No, Halo.
Oh, Halo, my God.
I want set pieces for Halo. I feel like that's the better way for a multiplayer, for a Halo single player. Cause like you go on Wolfenstein, people remember like going through with the wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that was good. So I want stuff like that for Halo single player. And at least when I say I want something to change, I give you a scenario where I want to change. You ask how you want Halo to change. I don't know. How you want Gears to change? I don't know. How you want Far Cry to change? I don't know. Like, then why do you keep talking about it? Like, sure, Far Cry 6 looks exactly like Far Cry 5, 4, and 3. But guess what? The people who bought 3, 4, and 5 loved it enough to where they felt like they needed to make a 6. So who am I to tell them to change Far Cry, because clearly there's enough people buying that? I'll just go play something else. People act like they ain't games out in these streets. There's plenty for you to play.
Not every game is for everyone, you know? Like they just don't really know what they want. I think that's what it comes down to. And really, Addict, like, you're right. You said this earlier. I was listening. I was in the chat. A lot of these people don't even play these games. Like the Gears of War complaints. I'm like, well, have you been in these games? Have you played them? Are you gonna play it? Probably not. A lot of these dudes. So I just pay it no mind. I think it's irritating because it's like I've been there for over 10 years already, playing Gears for so long, and it's like, who are you to just come in? And I know somebody in the chat was like, that's gatekeeping. No, it's not. If you're not going to play the game, who are you to say you're going to want to change when the diehards?
It's not gatekeeping, because I'm not telling you can't play the game. You could go easily just go get that game just as easy as I can. I'm telling you, if you're not a fan of the game, you got no right to talk down on my opinion of the game, because you have zero experience in it. And
that's where I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
And I'll even take it a step further. Certain people who, and I'm not going to mention any names, of course, but certain people who may have influence who aren't familiar with the series, they have to be careful too, because their word would hold more weight than mine, or like an Erica's or Eric Empire's or Mercury. It would just hold more weight. So like you would have to be careful in that instance as well. As far as the Gears thing, this is the exact reason why I'm going back, and I bought Gears 1 on Game Pass. So this is the exact reason why I'm going back. So I really want to see what the differences are between Epic's version and the Coalition's version. I want to see, because I know what I fell in love with.
From playing, I played a little bit of the original Gears. I didn't play a whole lot of it, and plus they're outdated now. I don't want to go back to them. I played the first one, played a little of the second one, and I played a little of the third one, but I never beat the second and third one. Like, I enjoy what they've done with Gears 4 and 5. I actually feel like Coalition had Xbox on their back the whole Xbox One generation.
They did.
Like, they were doing more than any of the other studios were doing. They were 9 times out of 10 always up there in some form of game. You had Gears Ultimate, then you had Gears 4, then you had Gears 5, then you had the I keep forgetting that stupid.
Tactics?
You had Tactics, because they co-developed that. I would say they had a little bit less hands-on, but they still helped with it in some form of fashion. And then they had Hive Busters. Look at all of that. They've done a lot with the brand. And obviously, I think there was a little bit of weird messaging. I don't know if they initially wanted Kate to be the main character from the fourth one. I think they kind of thought the process was, but like you could tell that if you play the game's about Kate.
Yeah.
Gears 4 is about Kate, so I don't understand why people are confused when Gears 5 was Kate.
Yeah, I was confused by that too. It's like, how do you not? If you played the fourth game, why are you surprised Kate is the main character? Like the cliffhanger was literally for Kate.
I think it was because they let you play as JD, so people assumed that you was going to play as JD. And I think the reason they let you play as JD is because they don't want to. They don't want to ruin what the story was going to be about. They wanted to capitalize on that. Your main character from the original trilogy's son. And they can't really go into that with Kate because you can't know who her parents are at the time.
Mm-hmm. I added real quick. Carlos Alvarado, it says here's a $2 super chat. Halo will have set pieces and open world elements.
We'll see. I think 343 has the capabilities of making a great Halo because they made sections of great Halos. Like I think they've made good Halos. They've never made a good, like a great, amazing Halo. And I think that's the issue. People want an amazing Halo, including myself. We don't want half a product and we spent $60, $70. I don't know how much these games are going to be. We didn't spend that money for half a product. We want the whole product. So I think that's the issue. And Gears, I personally feel like they're taking Gears in a good direction. I love the campaign of Halo 5. I mean, Gears 5. I thought, besides Act 3, Gears was a great game. Gears 5 was a great game.
The open world stuff you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't even necessarily think the open world stuff. I just think Act 3 was a letdown.
Or was that Act 2? I forget.
Act 1 was when you fought your way out of the city. Act 2 is when you was in the mountains with the snow.
Yeah.
Act 3 was when you was in the desert.
The desert, right.
And Act 4 is when you was doing that last war thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally felt like besides Act 3, and Act 3 wasn't horrible. It was just compared to Act 2, it was bad.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
And I can't sit here and say Gears 5 was underwhelming or a bad game or even an average game when I enjoyed every ounce of that game, but maybe 3 or 4 hours. And that might even be pushing it. I don't even think it. I don't know.
Like I think just the fact, like me listening to you, knowing you didn't really go through the whole original trilogy, like you played one of them, you beat one of them, played the other two, didn't beat them. Like hearing this from you now is kind of bridging the gap. It feels like maybe Coalition did a decent job because you liked the game. I thought it was good. I thought Gears 5 was good. So obviously they did something right there. There's something in there,
I didn't have an issue with Gears 4, but I definitely didn't like. I played Gears 5 in almost damn near one setting. It might have been 2 or 3, but it felt like one setting. Like, because me and Kid had it like 3 or 4 days before it came out, before it started bugging out and stuff. So like we pretty much was throughout the whole game before the game came out. So like to me, I feel like you guys are talking from a nostalgia standpoint from the first 3.
Like me personally, when it comes to the new Gears, I have issues with it multiplayer wise, even single player. I feel like the attentions to details and things like that, the goriness, the horror elements of it, those are they've been lost in a way. And Coalition's kind of doing a different, I don't want to say art style because it's still Gears, but it's like, it's much more colorful. It's much more bright. It's much more like, it's just the tone of it is a bit different. The characters, obviously, I feel like the older characters way better.
Yeah,
there's issues in there. But as far as what they've done well with it as pacing and how quick the characters move now and things, there are things that are good and better now. It's just we hold on to that nostalgia of like the characters.
You know what it could be too? What I've seen from playing the first one and playing a lot of the second, third one is, I think in the original Gears trilogy, it always felt like at any time there was something on the line. Like someone could die at any time. Every game you expected, this is war. People die. Any one of your peoples can die at any time. And I don't feel like you get that in the new Gears. Like you feel like when you play a game, you're in a war, but you're not in a war. You know what I'm saying? That's why when there was a certain character that looked like they died in 5, at the very end in the robot, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It kind of gave a little bit more of that, we in a war. But then, not even 30 minutes later, they reversed that. He didn't die. Like, it's just like, I do feel like in Gears, it always felt like there was something on the line. You was in a war, and at any time, one of your favorite characters. It's kind of like the season finale in The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like they have that in the newer
It
ones.
felt much more dire back then, like, and then when somebody did go, you felt it. You got emotional. You felt it, like, for that character, even though they're not the most complex characters. They're kind of like these dude bro dudes, but you still felt something. Now it's like like Gears 5, for example. You're like, okay, that happened. Moving on.
And
Got
I
my
think
girl up out there, Erica.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people don't like the decision at the end of Gears 5, because they finally gave you a scenario where someone's going to die,
Mm.
and they let you choose who's going to die. So it's just like they should have just killed someone if they're not going to do it correctly. I don't know what they're going to do.
It's going to be
So they should have just
interesting.
killed someone. So
Yeah.
Carlos did another $2 super chat. Love to see Gears in more of a horror setting. That's what Erica was saying earlier.
Yeah, that's what that's what I miss. I miss that stuff.
Don't put it in first person. Shout out to Jez Corden, but don't put it in first person. Yeah, I heard when he said
Oh,
that.
who's saying that?
Jez Corden over there at Xbox too.
I mean, that's what I feel like when I see.
that.
But the thing is when I see people constantly saying we want to change, we want to change, we want to change, and they put an open world element in the game, and they still not happy with that, but they like hype busters. Do you want it first person? Because that's where I'm thinking at this point.
Nah. Listen,
does that dude even play Gears like that?
He plays Gears. He plays Gears.
That's not
Why would he
slandering
want
on his
first
end,
person?
but not
That's
first
wild.
person.
I think that was more
That's
of a joke than
wild.
anything. Like,
I hope so. I hope so.
I actually would like Coalition to make a third person cover Halo game in the Halo universe.
That would be cool.
Maybe being
I'd play it. Shoot.
Maybe they could have made a Spartan Lock one where he's becoming a Spartan and he's still part of the Omen. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Did you?
I gotta head out though.
That's fine, Erica.
Thanks for inviting me on. It was fun to talk to you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about this PlayStation thing real quick.
Let's go.
So clearly, as you can see, there's rumors that it's going to be in the end of July. I don't think that's necessary. I don't know what's going to happen. That seems a little late. I mean, they might wait that late, but I feel like they're still going to want to capitalize in some form away from E3. But waiting all the way in July, I think that's gone at that point. Now, let's go into this. What is your expectations for whatever their showcase is?
Okay. My expectation, they're going to kill it. If history shows us anything, right, we can go based off of the last, not state of play, but with the last like big event that they did before the PlayStation dropped, how they showcased a bunch of different games. We just heard recently that there are 25 new IPs in development. Of course, we may not hear anything from them, but I expect greatness every time PlayStation drops. If this event does happen in July, we'll see something in reference to Kenna. Hey, Addict. We'll probably see some.
Do people really want to see Kenna again?
Oh, let's not do that. Oh, we can't do that, Addict. Come on, that's Kenna. At that, hey, look, it's gonna hit different.
I don't think people want to see Kenna again. We got a $2 super chat from Carlos. Love to see a Halo Flood escape mode with a squad. That would be interesting. They should have actually probably collaborated and made that in Gears. That would have been cool. But continue.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Okay, so we'll see that more than likely. If I had expectations or predictions, Horizon I almost said Zero Dawn. Horizon Forbidden West will more than likely have a release date, and I say that if they show it again, they're gonna have a release date because they wanted to stay in the news cycle. I didn't mention that on the last little appearance I made. Excuse me. Ooh. I'm not going down, you Attic. I promise.
Just keep going. Just kick you from the thing. I don't know what's going on with him.
But as far as expectations, okay, so we haven't heard anything about Gran Turismo, have we? Mm-hmm. I know we saw it like last year, but then they said it was delayed. Okay, so I think as a counterpunch to Forza, which it may be rumored to come out later on this year.
It's coming. There's no rumor. It's coming.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn.
Horizon
so I think
5 is definitely coming this year.
Oh, so will Horizon 5 coming this year? Mm-hmm. I think we see something about Gran Turismo at some point. I think Sony has to counteract that. So Sony has a history of showing things like way in the future, way in the future, right? And a lot of people give them crap for it. I think we see something in regards to Uncharted 5, and I see Nadine, I see Chloe, and I see Sam in there. It's not going to pick up with Nathan's daughter. I know a lot of people may want it to, but I don't think it's going to.
I think they're going to.
I hope not.
Because
I hope not.
At the end of the day, that they wouldn't have made that little part at the end of Uncharted 4 if they have no intentions on carrying that. I think if anything, you'll see them kind of like mentor her. I think that's probably going to be the realistic scenario. But then again, Lost Legacy, it didn't flop by any means. So, maybe they open their eyes a little bit more on, maybe we can bring these characters in a little bit more. But it's like I said, I think if they are in there, it's going to be her mentors. Like, something's going to happen where, Drake's dead or something like that. And she going to be a grown-ass woman at that point. And, she knows what her dad did, but I don't think she knows to a point what her dad did. You know what I'm saying? And they going to show up and be like, something's going on, and maybe someone killed Drake, and you're trying to figure out why. Maybe he's missing. Maybe they're going to pull Last of Us. I don't know.
Well, this is Uncharted, Addict. They don't get that dark in particular. Shout out to Naughty Dog. They'll do that with The Last of Us for sure. But Uncharted in particular is super. I know you play.
So are we saying Uncharted needs to be the same?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You're saying they don't normally do that, so that means they need to be the same?
I'm saying that it is great that Uncharted has its own lane. I do not want that joint to get like The Last of Us, dog. I get the crying left and right. I can't deal with that. Chloe Fraser is my first. Okay, I'm reading the chat. Chloe Fraser is my favorite single player protagonist from last year. That's baby. That's my baby. But yeah, no, but they don't need to get that dog. If they do bring up Nathan Drake's daughter, that would be dope, and I would love how that kind of intertwines.
What happens if they bring? What happens if Medina and them are the main characters, and Nathan Drake's daughter ends up being the villain? That would be a crazy twist, man. That'd be a crazy twist.
I would love to see how Naughty Dog writes that out. I would love to I want that perspective. That would be a dope little thing because she getting bodied. I'm using Nadine. I'm using Sam. Can you imagine if Sam got to kill her, his niece?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Oof. This on just the Uncharted series. Yeah, I expect for that joint to be goofy, whimsical. I mean, yeah, sure, it may have some heartwarming touching parts in there, but nothing crazy. It won't be nothing. It probably won't be nothing like that.
Okay, so we're Uncharted 5.
Mm-hmm.
We are on. You think that we'll see Gran Turismo?
Yes.
What else?
God of War 2. Well, God of War 2. Excuse me, God of War Ragnarok. I don't think we necessarily get a title. I think we see another splash screen in a year release. If I'm speculating, of course, if Horizon Forbidden West does come out this year, it probably won't. But if it does, then we'll see the other one drop because God of War is normally drop in March. And you can correct me on that. But I know the last one for sure dropped in March. Didn't that?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Okay. So I can tell you for sure. If not March, it'll be in the fall. So that'll be their big title.
It released on April the 20th. It might have got delayed. That might be an old release date. I think it was April though. I don't know. It might have been a little later than that. All right, so you think we're going to see God of War? We're going to see Uncharted 5, Gran Turismo. We might get a release date for Horizon. Anything else?
I want to hit you with some type of wild and crazy prediction. The people who make the Order 1886 are no longer around because I think they got acquired by Facebook, so we won't see anything from them. I'm gonna sound crazy in saying this, but you remember those leaked documents that just came out about Uncharted 4 going to PC?
Mm-hmm.
I literally think that we see something in regards to that about Uncharted having more life in terms of multiplayer. So I think we do see something about that.
So do you think we see anything from Sucker Punch or Insomniac?
Insomniac, nothing new. It'll probably just be hey, here's Ratchet and Clank. However many people wrote it. Here's some more gameplay. They probably, because if this is rumored to be next month, they probably want to announce the DLC. They'll be hey, just go play what we just dropped. Sucker Punch. Has Ghost got any DLC outside of that multiplayer? Has Ghost got any DLC?
I think they might show up for Sucker Punch DLC. So okay, let's say because I think that's realistic. I don't think that's crazy. So they show up with Uncharted 5. not necessarily a new IP, but a well loved franchise. Gran Turismo release date?
Uh, Probably. You know what? Probably not. I think they show it just to be like, hey, we the king. We see Forza doing their thing, but we the kings around here. And if it is a release date, it'll be next year.
Look, I'm gonna let that Kings thing slide until they show their Kings.
Oh.
Where we're gonna go with that? Because until they start coming out there and they start hitting that note that the way Forza's been doing it, you can't hide and claim you're still a king. How many times can a UFC champion deny a contender fight and then still claim he's the king? You'll get that belt yanked from him. So Horizon, you think it comes out this year?
I think that there will be a release date announced this year. And okay, so part of me wants to say this. PlayStation games don't typically release in November because of what's that? Call of Duty, pardon me, and Battlefield stuff. Games like that, right? And typically November's around Microsoft's time. I think if it is announced, it'll be announced in either September or October. Like I said, I really think they're just doing the rollout because that game damn near looked dumb when we was looking at it. We're being real. But I think they're just doing a rollout to stay in the news cycle.
I mean, they showed us Anthem, and that definitely wasn't done. So, they can definitely finesse you with these vertical slices. There's no denying that.
Fair point.
I think Sony's gonna stay safe. I don't think they're gonna really go out of their comfort zone too much. I think Horizon's coming out in 2022. I don't think there's any reason to do that state of play last week if they were going to have this year. Because are you just going to redo another state of play? Like, are you going to re-show the same gameplay for E3? If you aren't going to show the same gameplay, are you going to show new gameplay? That takes time. So you had the studio make 2 different kinds of gameplay?
I think they got it in the tuck. And even if they don't show the gameplay, if they do show it again, they're going to show that release date. Like I said, I think they're doing this for a news cycle thing. I think, hey, we got everybody talking, and we got the weirdos talking about, let's fix Halo, this, that, and the third. I think they come back again. They drop, Xbox to drop their guard after E3, because Sony's been known to do this, or PlayStation's been known to do this. When Xbox drop their guard, Sony come back, PlayStation come right back with that right hook and knock them out. And we've seen it time and time again. So it wouldn't surprise me. It definitely wouldn't surprise me.
I feel like they're going to go ahead and probably, if it's not announced at E3, which I don't think it's going to, because to me 2 weeks is not enough time to justify delaying something. Like, if they had the news, what was it, last Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday? Mm-hmm. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? If they had news Wednesday, they could have easily just held it to their next event. So to me, they're not going to show it at E3. It's going to be one of those things where they're just going to announce it on Twitter that's been delayed. Because I just don't see them doing all of that work to still come out and say it's coming out this year. Like, they already did that event. Like I said, why not just say it there? Unless they don't know if it's coming out this year. And 9 times out of 10, if people don't know it's coming out this year, they are hoping for the best, and that's why I don't want to commit to anything. Because I just don't see why you would hold that information. There's no reason to. Like, you got plenty of stuff. You got God of War. You got whatever Sucker Punch is working on. You got plenty of stuff. You don't have to hold anything back unless you don't know. And in that case, if you don't know, there's a good chance it's probably not coming out this year in general. They got butchered over the Last of Us thing where they had to keep delaying the game because of COVID. So, and I was told a couple months ago that it was delayed to 2022.
No, Eddie, I didn't bring it up, but The Last of Us Part 2. Remember how they said they weren't going to work on any DLC, but they had sold so many copies at that point, like, they would be stupid not to. They definitely said they weren't going to work on a Part 3. I think we get Abby DLC, we'll probably get Lev DLC or something like that. Or one of the other side characters DLC. I think we get DLC for The Last of Us Part 2.
that's a lot
It
a
might be.
lot of
It
hope,
might be.
man.
It might
That's a
be.
lot
I
of
know.
hope.
You know.
So Kenny Howard said, "Where's Xbox release dates at it?"
Hmm.
This Sunday, ILP, because I didn't want to do my predictions with a new panel until ILP and we did ours. So this Sunday we're doing a prediction show for ILP. I'm not allowed to tell the guests, unfortunately. So after that, next Tuesday, we'll be doing one on the Attic Show with a completely different panel. It won't be the same panel. So come there because I'm sure you can appreciate that. I understand Xbox's stuff is I'm not gonna even go into it. You know what, Kenny? Not doing. I'm not falling into your trap. All right. If you want to know that stuff, come in next Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are 88 people in here right now, and we have 56 likes. Can we please hit the like button, man? Let's get more eyes on this. Shout out to you, Attic. I'm super proud of what y'all doing over there. Especially you got your own little platform on the Monday and Tuesdays and all that, man. You're doing your thing, homie. You're doing your thing. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Got stuff I gotta get handled too. But definitely, like I said, we might have a big guest on Sunday. We might. So I definitely want that's my personal opinion when it comes to it. I personally feel like PlayStation's going to play it safe. They're going to maybe release one or two big announcements, and not necessarily like massive announcements, but I think they're running into the same issue that Microsoft's running into. They don't want to show all their cards because they can't sell any more consoles than they have.
That's true.
So why do stuff like that when it's not going to lead to more sales? And I think Sony's having the same thought process. Like they know they're probably trying to do as much as they can to make as much for the holiday sales, but at the end of the day, they know they don't have a huge amount of stock to sell. So they're trying their hardest to keep that realistic. And just to show everything is naive. You're never going to get anything from it. I do think we'll see maybe some gameplay from God of War. I think there's a chance for that. Because God of War supposedly is coming out this year. I don't think they've delayed it officially yet.
It's that is nah. Listen. I know what they said. That's getting a delay, dog. Like that, they'd be crazy to even try to release that this year, unless it's like I know King, he likes to joke and says Miles Morales is like the DLC for Spider-Man and all that, right? If it's something like of that stature, which I doubt, but if it's something of that stature, then I get it. But I still wouldn't release it this year.
If it was like a Miles thing and it was a smaller game, how upset do you think people would be?
Oh boy, I'm gonna be on Twitter that day. That's for damn sure. But I mean, for me, like these stuff like that don't really bother me, man. But I'm not gonna lie though. I'm like 4 hours in God of War 2018. It is hitting a little different. I can understand why a lot of people love that game, man. Like it's one of the best experiences that I've ever played. I just jumped from game to game to game to game like a madman. But it's gonna hit for something else.
I think God of War 3 is still the better game.
Hey, I have not played God of War 3 yet. You're not the only person who says that, though.
God of War 18, I'm not one of those people that think God of War 18 is bad. I think it's a great game. It was probably one of the best games made last generation. But as far as like God of War, I think God of War 3 just had some of the best pacing I've ever seen in video games. So you can't beat that. And then not to mention there were issues with God of War 2018. Fighting the same troll over and over again. I felt like the camera angle became an issue at some points. Not every time, but there were issues where I was having with the camera angle. Especially fighting the Valkyries, where they would just disappear and reappear on the map. Sometimes I couldn't find them because of the camera angle, but it is what it is. But any last predictions that is realistic? Because I'm about to hit you with give me that mic drop moment. That's why I want you to hit me with that.
Okay. Well, predictions that I think are realistic. I typed it in the chat, but we get a release date for Stray because the game with the cat and the ray tracing and the lights and neon lights and all that. We get a release date for that. Because they said that was supposed to release in 2021 as well, so we get a release date for that. Mic drop moments. I would like to say that my mic drop moment. Oh no, I got it. BG would be proud of me for this one. They announced factions too.
I don't think that's a mic drop moment. I think people expect that at this point.
Oh, I added. People expect it, but hey, let's be real. It ain't happened yet. It has not happened yet. BG is leading the charge. He is on Neil Druckmann's back. Let me curse on it. But no. I think we get that, and I think we get a release date. I think we get a release date for factions too. There we go.
I think my mic drop moment is Final Fantasy VII Remake 2.
Oh, the second part.
Mm-hmm. Because I think we all know that what's going on right now, it's not supposed to be a long-term thing. So, any other mic drop moments from you before we close out of here?
Let's see. Outside of that, oh, this is a shot in the dark like hell. Naughty Dog announces that new IP that they're rumored to be working on. Well, I don't think we get no gameplay. I just think we get like a Metroid Prime 4 splash screen type thing.
So we got another $2 super chat from Carlos. Thoughts on the Necromondia hired gun #2 Steam sales? I definitely butchered that. I think Kid Smooth was playing that on Xbox. I haven't played it yet, so me and his share a digital library, so I might boot it up. But I usually try to stay away from some of the kids kid be playing because he be trying to achievement hunt, and I don't care. Because he be playing some suspect stuff for those achievements, man.
He played Don't Rain on My Parade, which I'm not going to slander him for, but if he like it, I love it, I guess.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Addict fan, can we agree on that? I don't know. Final Fantasy. Yeah, I think we could see that remake 2. I think Square has a lot of invested into them. You know what my mic drop moment is, and I know everyone in the chat about to disagree.
What's up?
I think they're gonna announce they bought Square Enix. Because stuff been real spooky with them, man. We ain't talking like one game. Like they got a game made by Team Ninja that has the Square Enix license. How'd that happen? Unless Sony owns it.
I mean, you might have a point. I saw that exchange on Twitter. Or would you come to our world? Or can you please come get us? Or whatever they said. I said, oh God. I was like, this is gonna be out in the open like that.
I feel like they were doing if this is true, and they were doing all these Game Pass deals with Xbox because they was trying to cash out before they sell out. So like to me, it makes sense. Like they almost every Final Fantasy's been exclusive at this point. 7 Remake 2. Ironically, we were supposed to that exclusivity was supposed to end in 6 months, and then it stops ending, and now it's exclusive for another 6 months. Like it makes no sense. And it's like I said, with the whole scenario with Team Ninja supposedly working on a Neo type game with the Final Fantasy universe, why is Square Enix working with Team Ninja? There's no reason for them to work together. But guess who does work with Team Ninja? Sony. Why would Square let Sony have their license to let Team Ninja make a game? Unless Sony owns it all. Like
I was gonna ask you what happened because I haven't seen the new Final Fantasy on Xbox. I'm not sure if it's there, but I kind of was waiting for it to come out.
I was told 6 months ago that it's not coming out for Xbox. Just be real.
That's
it's not coming out for Xbox.
That's crazy.
But I was told 2 years ago it was coming out for Xbox. So something changed. And I think that purchase changed. But here's a little spoiler thing. I think Microsoft bought Sega. So
can we speak on that before we go?
I mean, I guess we can. It would be crazy. Persona 6 is announced at the Xbox stage and they bought them and it's exclusive to Xbox.
Oh my God. Do you understand how many people would be hurt? Hey, listen, I got Game Pass already. I'm straight. I ain't worried about it. Hey, that's gonna be wild. Oh man, no, but I literally hope that Sega and Microsoft, join forces. Because if you can read the tea leaves, you can read the tea leaves. If you look at the Sonic Blue controller, it's the actual blue that Sonic is. It's the same hue. I don't know if you remember, but you saw the young lady who was at her work desk with she on the Sega work desk with all the Sonic paraphernalia and whatnot. She threw up the X. Come on, y'all. Like, come on. I think it's I don't want to say I think it's a safe bet. I was kicking away ACG with something about it, but
all I'm saying is stuff keeps happening, ironically pushing the needle more and more that way. You have stuff that's happening with Sega being part of Sammy, because Sammy, to my knowledge, Sammy is the one that's publicly traded, not Sega. And Sammy owns Sega. Ironically, Sammy separates their financial records from Sega. Why would you do that? Unless you're about to sell that company to someone. Ironically, because we know the pride of Japan. We know how they feature. We know the kind of thought process that they have. Ironically, they start scraping Sega logos off buildings that's been there for years. Why would you do that? You get Yakuza Like a Dragon exclusive to the to Xbox Series X for a couple months before it comes out to PlayStation. Why would you do that? Phantasy Star is exclusive to Xbox. Why would you do that? And to my knowledge, we see games like Square Enix's games coming out of Game Pass. Like Kingdom Hearts are about to come out. One of the Final Fantasies came out. Has any of the Yakuzas came out of Game Pass, Hustle? Any of them?
I don't think so, no.
None of them. Hey, you mean to tell me they got like a 2-year contract with them? Everyone else got 6 months to a year, but Sega got a 2-year one. Makes no sense. Why is none of these games coming out of Game Pass? None of them. I don't know one game owned by Sega that's came out of Game Pass. But that's just me. But anyway, any more last words to the audience before we take off? Hustle.
Well, hey, last words to you. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having Erica for the win. That was super dope because she kind of had to carry me through that Giz conversation. Hey, I dropped a new video. Y'all should go to my YouTube channel and check it out.
Yeah, definitely go check out Hustle's video. You can definitely put that in the chat, Hustle. I definitely appreciate everyone coming by. We'll be here next week with, I'll probably have 4 people here, 4 including myself. So we're going to do that prediction show for Microsoft. Sunday's going to be IOPs. We're having some big guests on. You know, who's one I could throw out? I'm not getting in trouble. I ain't doing none of that. So definitely go there, man. I appreciate everyone for coming through. Appreciate all the likes, all the super chats. Appreciate all the viewership. Until next time, Gaming Addicts, we're out of here. Peace.